Welcome to the Next Breath podcast, where we breathe life into the next generation of dreamers, doers, and changemakers. I'm your host, Matthew Bell, fashion designer and CEO of 14th Pharaoh Apparel, where style reigns supreme. Today, we're stepping into the sunlight with someone whose entire brand is rooted in joy, healing, and transformation. I'm talking about Jessica Cox, the CEO and visionary behind Sunflower Cabana, a bold, blooming lifestyle brand that blends fashion, wellness, and purpose. From her runway shows that feel like tropical sanctuaries to her community brunches that help folks bloom season by season, Jessa is creating spaces that inspire personal growth and unapologetic self-expression. She's not only a designer, but a motivational model, healer, and a force in Chicago's creative scene. In this episode, we talk about what it means to live in full bloom and how fashion can support mental health and how to turn personal pain into purposeful design. So without further ado, let's dive in, take a deep breath, and feel ready to be seen, inspired, and maybe a little sun-kissed. Let's get into it.
Thank you. That was such a beautiful intro. Oh my gosh. I need to put
Thank
that
you.
on my wall in the morning and read that every day.
Yeah.
Thank
Give
you so
yourself
much
give
for
yourself
that.
some affirmations.
Yes.
So, Jessa, you launched Sunflower Cabana during a pivotal time in 2020. How did that season of self-awakening spark your brand's redefinition?
So at that time, COVID time, and it was my first stab, I would say, at entrepreneurship. At first, I was doing like jewelry and accessories because I always would get complimented on, the big jewelries. But people felt like, oh, I can't wear that. And so I wanted to start a brand that motivated people to say, hey, you can wear that. Now I kind of dropped the ball with that just because the people that complimented me saying they loved how it looked on me weren't bold enough to actually purchase. So then I had to start shifting. And then I started doing more style where I had to teach you like, hey, you can highlight your features. You can rock this. You can wear that. Um, but yeah, that first kind of 3 years, 2 to 3 years, it was kind of that preliminary run.
Can you take us on a journey from your first runway show to rebranding your closet as your own sanctuary?
So I was in a show and they're like, we need designers. And I, at the time, was just creating for myself, was creating my own workout gear. And I was like, in some swimwear. And I was like, I have some pieces I could throw in here. I'm like, not an official brand, but I can throw some stuff in here. And it was so well received. And everyone was just like, you should keep going with this. This is so different. This is so unique. And so, Moni Papa Fish shows, my girl that I work with, she's like my mentee now, but she was doing a show and she asked me to do an entire collection, maybe 3 or 4 months after that initial show. And I was like, well, let's do it. And I feel like I always say that I slipped and fell into the designing realm because it was really just a personal little thing for me, that I ended up sharing with everyone.
Well, we're glad that you have shared it with everyone because it's awesome.
Thank
The world
you.
needs more creativity and more beautiful passion coming through it.
Yeah, thank you.
And just like all brands, you have a mission and an impact. So for Sunflower Cabana, which is a brand that has blooming movements all around it, how do you define living in full bloom?
So full bloom for me is being bold, being authentic, um, being self-aware. I think that's one that a lot of people forget or they get so tied up into what society wants for you or for um what you've been told you should want and should do, and like really experimenting and being okay with, you know, learning yourself. So, living life in full bloom is like, hey, I'm gonna try this over here, I'm gonna try this over there. And some of it might be a fail, but it's okay because you're like, I tasted that. I know that's not for me. But yeah, definitely that authenticity.
100%, I agree with you. Let's talk a little bit about petals and progress. How did you align yourself with personal growth and the seasons that come in your life?
Well, this one's a little deep. This was gonna get a little deep. So, I definitely suffer from seasonal depression, living in the Midwest. I go through it. Anyone that says it's not real, it's so real. But um, I feel like I always say I'm powered by the sun. And it was one time where I always say that like nature is my interaction with God. That's where I go to pray and meditate. And like winter drives me crazy because I'm like, I can't go outside and be with God. I need my dose, right? And so my one friend, he was like, hey, God made the winter too. And I had to sit with that. And I was like, he did. Why did he make the winter? Let me sit and think with this. And so I started meditating. You know, we're in the Chicagoland area. So I'm outside in like 20 degrees weather. I got to the point that I could sit for 15 minutes in 20-degree weather with just like a hoodie and snow boots and gloves. So that, you know, it took time, it took, you know, consistency to get to that point, but it's something so beautiful about winter when you sit in it and like you hear the geese, you hear like I don't know if you've ever heard a snowflake drop, but it's like this slight little crunch, and it's just like wow, I've never slowed down to appreciate winter. And I was like, how many other people haven't slowed down to appreciate winter and just the natural cycle of the world? And so Petals in Progress is, you know, embracing every season. So the theme of the first Petals in Progress was Snow and Glow, where it was illuminating our light. We can still illuminate our light in dark times, in the darkest periods of our lives. So um, we do a lot of doing the work. I know a lot of brunches are usually about being cute and we're going to take pictures and have mimosas. It's like, yeah, we're going to be cute, but we're also going to do the work. Here's a journal prompt. So the first one, we were literally breaking dishes. Like, hey, what cycle am I breaking as I enter into the next season of spring? Before I get to spring, let's dig into the psychology and break the cycle and why it's not serving us. Because sometimes we're like, I want to stop doing that, but like, did we think of why do I do it? What am I missing out on because I keep doing it? And if I do the behavior that I want to do, how is that going to benefit me? And what do I have to gain? Like we really dived into it. And then we were breaking those dishes. Somebody was two-stepping. They was like, it's gone, you know. So it was a really beautiful brunch. I always call it like brunch and group therapy. And so we tend to have the same people come. So it starts to become accountability group too. So we all are familiar with each other. We can say, hey, how you doing with your routine that you said you're gonna do? Did you make it? And we have a chat to support each other too. So
That is all beautiful. And I haven't actually like thought about it deeper, like really becoming one with the seasons, you know, and like
yeah,
understanding what's going on around you, but also transitioning with them too, because they literally
yeah.
transition and shift all
It's
the
the
time.
blueprint. It's literally nature is the
It
blueprint.
is.
God made nature and it's all beauty. It's the blueprint. And we don't follow that. Especially I feel like as creatives, we're like grind, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And it's like winter is for rest. Everything in nature is rest. It's not death, it's rest. It's like, you know, the trees take their nutrients from the leaves, they shed it, and it all the nutrients goes into the root. So now that's the season where the roots of that tree is in its most powerful, it's in its most stable. So you can sit with your most stable and your most powerful self in winter. And then you can come back out and pull out that energy and push it out where it needs to be, but you got to sit with it first. And we don't ever sit, you know?
Nah, I entirely agree with you. I'm a winter baby
Mhm.
too, so I gotta figure out how to hear a snowflake fall. I gotta
Yes,
learn
it's
how to do that.
beautiful.
A bit more about style and your personal soul. Style is
Yeah.
a very important thing as a designer.
Mhm.
So you say that you can help people rediscover themselves in their own closet. But what's something of your own personal style that helped you reach a breakthrough in your life? And also, how can you help others do that same thing?
I would just say my closet, if you think about how your closet is, it's literally the most defining thing of you. It is the accumulation of all your choices. Like it's a accumulation of choices. Like if someone dies and you go through your closet, you can be like, okay, they were into fitness. Like you can really tell who that person was. They were into fitness, they were into great clothes. Oh, they went out a lot. Maybe they stayed in the house a lot. Like even the gifts that you receive as clothes, if you decide to keep that thing that didn't align with you, that was a decision and a choice. Like that is a reflection of you and your psychology. Like what's your psychology that you wouldn't get rid of Aunt May's sweater that you ain't like and you ain't wear, just in case Aunt May asks you where it's at, so you could be like, I, you know what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
uh, I feel like it's the hack. It's the hack of your identity. Sometimes, like it's a scientific study where it's like people were given the same white lab coat. Some people were told that it was a painter's smock, and some people were told it was a doctor's coat. And they had to take some type of test. And the people in the painter's spot answered the creativity or like interpretive questions better. And the people in the doctors, they score higher on all of the more inquisitive, straightforward, logical questions. So that really tells you scientific evidence and proof that what you put on literally determines your mindset and your trajectory and how you feel about when you put it on. So I had a little depression spout, and I was like, with fighting the seasonal depression. You'll see me in neon in the winter because I'm like, sometimes I got to put the energy on, is my phrase. Um, Color, cut, texture, how you define yourself and how you show up for yourself is how you show up in the world. And I think everyone really underestimates that like beauty of fashion. It's not just clothes. It's how you're presenting yourself. It's the clues you're telling people about how to treat you. Like it is everything.
I entirely agree with you. It is.
Yes.
Fashion is like the ultimate way of just showing who you are, expressing yourself, expressing everything about you without saying a word, unless you got
Yeah.
words on your shirt. Some people be having words on their shirt or something, just letting you know
They
right
kings.
there. Yeah. But it's just like metaphorical, indirect way of just shining your own light on the world, which is also what I love about fashion so much too.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of my fashion has came from my insecurities. So the flower in my hair and the big earrings was a distract because my forehead a little big. It's a little funky, y'all. I got my daddy hairline. I love him, but but I in high school it was let me distract from my forehead with this flower and the big earrings, and then that became like a statement for me unintentionally. That like I started working at a hospital, and they're like, the girl with the flower in her hair, where's she at? She brightens up my day. Where's she at? And even with the colors, it was my way of speaking when I wasn't as comfortable with myself and my confidence. It was my way of speaking and being noticed and not ignored. It was my way of fighting feeling ignored. It was like, I'm gonna come in here with this is yellow. Y'all gonna see me. Like I might not say anything to you, but you're gonna see me. And then actually the colors drew people to me. It's kind of like the bird, the flower, the bees to the flowers, like people just started coming. And then that made me more comfortable to transition and be more confident. So it was like one thing feeding the other.
It's like a loop then.
Yep,
Like
a
what you're
cycle.
wearing, yeah, what you're wearing works to like help you reach goals and get out there more. The brightness, the light attracts, the light
Right.
attracts. I respect how sustainability like is a great factor in your brand, and my company 14th Pharaoh Apparel has the same thing like you, which it prioritizes sustainability and the
Mm.
importance of that to the customer. So overall, how do you balance luxury with activewear and eco-conscious fashion?
Yeah, when I started my fitness journey, what I was finding was I couldn't find anything of bright color and of quality. So then that's when I started, being a little more serious. But also it was a lot of dark black, um, and it just seems so wasteful. Like the fashion industry, as much as I love it, it's like 10% of the world's waste, and like one of the second largest consumers of like our water, trying to create all these textiles. And so I usually source for my fitness apparel recyclable materials, like materials made out of recyclable things. Everything's made to print for order, so I don't have 50 pieces of the same thing that now I have to clearance it off if it doesn't sell. Like it's made to order when the consumer purchases. We also cut on our shipping because it goes from the manufacturer straight to the consumer, and we don't do all the like. I love a good unboxing with great packaging, but that's also wasteful. So we don't have all the fancy frilly packaging because we're trying to be mindful. Like we got to take care of our planet. Our planet takes care of us. So anywhere I can reduce in my fashion brand, I do. And I also feel like my pieces are pretty timeless and neutral. Um, they can go anywhere. Like they can go to any time. I've seen people look at my pieces and say they're culturally ambiguous, where they can go to any culture, or they're like, oh, this gives me retro, but this also gives me modern. So trying to find those things that not will not necessarily go out of style. Uh, create because all of the thing with my brand, I don't think if I mentioned it, is that I create all of the prints. So all of the prints are created from me, from my mind. All the color combinations are made with intention, with like color therapy in mind. So really trying to find that like seamless, timeless, but like edgy uh print that you're not gonna want to throw it away in like 2 weeks because now it's out of fashion. I feel like I rambled a little bit, but I think y'all got the point. But we use the good materials that actually last. Like my my runway samples have been put on various bodies. They fit. I know I used to be about 170. My leggings that are made from my brand fit me at 170, but they also shrunk down and fit me at 140. So like being sustainable in that sense where it's like you're not outgrowing or actually the clothes kind of just fit to you like a superhero glove. Also makes it sustainable to me in my book.
Yeah, it's like everything's molded perfectly to whoever is
Sculpted.
like receiving it. It's
Yeah, it's a
literally
magic one.
custom.
Yeah.
It's like custom
Custom
made.
without being custom.
Exactly. Like unintentionally for everybody who's buying it. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of more of your fashion, you have something exciting coming up. Your
I do.
upcoming fashion.
Yes.
You have your upcoming fashion show, Passion in Paradise, which is going to be turning Chicago into a tropical escape. Tell us more about the show, what attendees can expect, and the message that you want to send through your collection this year.
Oh, it's so much. First of all, it's not one collection, it's three. So all the shows
Collections
I've
plural. Collections plural.
three. I don't know why I did that to myself, like 25 pieces. Why I do that? It's probably gonna be more than 25. But where do we start? We'll start with the mission. So the mission behind Passion to Paradise, which is happening May 31st, end of the month from 4 to 8 p.m. at So Exclusive 57 venue. Shameless plug. But Passion in Paradise's mission is to remind you to pursue your passions until your everyday is your version of paradise. So for my 33rd birthday, I had this kind of like weird, uncomfortable period. I had lost my job, but it was my 33rd birthday coming up, and 33 is like my like magical number. So I'm like, I gotta do it big. I want to do a fashion show. God blessed me with a business partner that was able to help me get a venue because I was like, the only thing stopping me is a venue, and then that landed in my lap the next week. Um, but I was coming out of the corporate world, and I was like, what do I really want? Because what I was doing wasn't what I wanted, and I'm like, how many other people are suffocating and drowning in what society told them that they should want, the big house, the car, the millionaire, whatever. I'm like, do I really want that? Because if y'all give me a plot of a land and give me a farm, I'm gonna be happy. Like, I don't need the Birkin bag. I would like a Birkin plant. It's a plant that's actually called a birch.
Wait,
Uh,
that's funny.
it's really a plant. It's pretty too. But you know, I wanted to make a stage and a space for everyone that's passionate about their thing to like be able to showcase. Um, and so I had like four designers. The past two shows, I had like four or five designers they would display. I include musical acts. I also include dance acts. So it's really a high energy event. I want you to feel like you left vacation. You know how you come back from vacation, you're like, it was like a possibility that you didn't of or way of living or something you need to change in your regular life because you had that shock of something new. Like that is the energy and the essence that I bring into my show. You're gonna leave inspired, you're gonna leave high energy. You could be like, that thing that I think I want, I'm gonna try to go for that. I'm gonna crave that now. Um, so that's the mission. You asked me a couple questions in one question. So
Yeah,
I
I
spoke on the
also.
mission.
Oh,
Yes.
would you want me to reread it?
Yeah, reread it.
Okay, yeah. So I'd just like you to tell us what can the attendees expect, and what's the message that you're sending through your collections.
Okay. So the collections. So one collection is called Kanutsuki collection, which Kanutsuki is actually Japanese pottery. That it's the aspect that the broken pottery is not thrown away, it's mended. So a lot of my collections are born out of depression. That sounds so terrible, but it was born out of a time where I felt ignored. I felt powerless. I felt literally broken. And it was like pulling myself together. And so it's a resin top collection made out of fabric scraps, broken jewelry. And we made these beautiful, like elegant tops out of them. And then they have like, a lot of it has gold and pearls. Like you just feel like it's a very ethereal, otherworldly feel to it. But the theme of that pottery, like feeling broken and then being mended with gold, mended with gold, and now the broken piece is now more valuable than it was before it was broken. Then I have an upcycle collection. So I never sew. I always manufacture because I'm like, once you start sewing, you become a slave to the fabric store and the sewing machine. And I've been avoiding that for the past couple of years. But I'm actually gonna sew a collection. My son is 16. He's growing like a weed. I have all this random denim around the house. So I was like, we're gonna bleach the denim, we're gonna dye it, and we're gonna make these cool, cool upcycle collection. That one's more to embody like personality, uniqueness. Like they're all gonna be one of a kind pieces that I make that they're not gonna be duplicated at all. And then the last collection is my I call it the vacation collection for the summer, which I have like the swimwear where you go on vacation, you and your boo matching. So I have a set of about four new prints. Uh, I always say nature is my guiding post. Nature, God is nature for me. So they have like an elemental feel. Most of my pieces have usually been very rainbow neon-y, very vibrant, but these are more earthy. Um, I got a red, like red is inspired by fire, inspired by like the cherry blossoms. Another one's inspired by it's a blue sea dragon. It's like this water jellyfish snail, but they're really gorgeous. And that one's blue, so that represents like the water. So those are the collections. So I got my work cut out because I'm procrastinating. Nothing is sewn. The denim is at least bleached, but
You
I
gotta get
gotta
on
dye.
that. You
I
gotta get
gotta
on
get it.
that.
We're 3 weeks away. But yeah, most of the other two collections are done, so we're good. We're good. But you know how I am as a designer. What the
I know how
audience
it
can
is.
what the audience can expect. So we're actually opening up with opera. We're gonna be really crazy this year. It's like I keep saying this is my last show unless I'm sponsored. I can't do this no more. This is the last one. So I'm really gonna give you guys a very unique experience that I haven't seen in Chicago. Usually it's straight runway or it's like the runway is like a party feel, like more of like a club, and I like want to give this like artsy, um, slow grow. Like we're starting with this opera energy. We're gonna have a violinist in our first act, and then the energy gradually builds, and then it becomes like that vacation tropical Afrobeat spot. Kind of like how when you're getting on the plane and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go on my trip. And then you get there and now you're at the resort and now you're like happy and fun. You just feel sun kissed. So
Translating your own vibe, your own energy to the people.
transcend, yes. We're transcending. Um but yeah, violin, opera, we have a singer with acoustic guitar. We're gonna have like a hip hop dance. So it's a lot, it's definitely what am I trying to say? Entertainment all around. It is fashion, but it is also storyline, and it is also like you will be thoroughly entertained. You're gonna be like, I can't go use the bathroom because I gotta catch everything. Like I have to wait till intermission to move. That's what we planning.
I like that aspect of making a fashion show actually like besides just the clothing, like actual and entertaining like show. Because like
Hmm.
a lot of designers don't actually do that. They kind of just have the fashion show and then boom, you walk out, you know. But if you
Hmm.
have it as like a show, it's just more captivating. It's a bigger artistic vision rather than just the clothes that you're showcasing.
Right.
How does like all the music actually combine to propel your vision further?
So everything musically is chosen with intention. Um, I don't know if you've heard of, there's science experiments with done on snowflakes, also done on plants, where music creates the vibration. So there is a visual, right? There's a visual with your clothing, put that energy on, but also musically that vibration and exposing everyone to all those different avenues of high energy, high vibration, meditative, like opera is meditative, violin is meditative, like all of those things are hacks to your energy, how you show up. I've been very intentional with the music I listen to, can't listen to the radio anymore. Um, and it's really made me into a different person between the visual and the hearing around me. It's just transformed my trajectory. So when you're creating an ambiance and an immersive experience, you can't just have the visuals, you have to have the sound that matches it. But yeah, definitely sound waves affect plants and snowflakes. So do you think it's not affecting you when you have that all that water in you too?
I like that a lot. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. Let's talk about your leadership and community. You're deeply connected with grassroots work, Woodlawn Diversity and Action, Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, Lade University, and more. So, what keeps you rooted in the community as you rise in your career?
I think back to this depression, right? Battling with depression and isolation, right? Thinking that, oh, let me isolate myself because I don't want to be a hindrance and a bother to others. And I feel like we go through those phases, and those are really self deprecating, harmful experiences. Like you really think you're alone, but you're not. And so to me, community is so important because I feel like creating those open spaces, those open air environments where people can come together and feel welcome. Like that is some, something that I feel Western culture a lot is missing out on. Just the community, like we're all in our little boxes in our little houses where we're like only concerned with our little square of people. But the more community you bring, the more joy you bring, the more influence you bring, the more way you can transfer that energy. Because you can touch someone positively today, and that's not going to stop with them. That's going to keep spreading to the next one, to the next one, and then they're going to spread it, and then they're going to spread it. Um, one, my best friends, shout out St. Larice. She has an etiquette business. She's great with all of that. She has me reading this book called The Power of Influence, and it says in your lifespan you're going to touch or influence 80,000 people, not knowing, like a regular smuggler person, about 80,000 people in your lifestyle, in your lifetime. So I want to make sure that influence is hopefully more than 80,000 people, but also a very um, positive influence for sure. So having that community grassroots, um, where people feel like they're lost, they don't have a thing to be like, hey, we're here. Here's some community for you. We're making it easy for you. Makes people less likely to isolate.
I think that's definitely something a lot of people have to work on, including myself,
Yeah.
just like getting out of the like you're because it's all mental. So like if you're
Hmm.
mentally like in a box or mentally thinking one way, then like you gotta get yourself out of that mentally so you should do it physically. Or just throw yourself out of it physically and then your mental will
Hmm.
follow, you know?
So yeah, a lot of the events that I work with, it's kind of like you might just come just to come, but you're not expecting it to be the level that it is. I know when I do networking events, biggest pet peeve, oh my gosh, is there's networking events and it's like they throw you all in the room and they're like, okay, we're networking. No, that's not how you network because 9 times out of 10, most likely everyone's a little shy. They might not be networking. They might be in a period of isolation where they're like, I'm here, I came out the house. And so what I love to do is to create those interactive safe spaces. That's the biggest thing, like interactive safe spaces for people to get their guard down. So we're going to ask the questions. I'm going to be like, hey, switch chairs and talk to this person over here. Uh, just little unique things to get people to talk to the person that they wouldn't normally talk to. And they realize, oh man, they're cool. Or really, everyone's just people. They're not really that intimidating. They're probably feeling the same things or have felt the same thing at some point in their life. So that relatability is really important too.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Like people are at the end of the day people. And
Right.
like kids in my classes are like super nervous to present in front of the class, but like they're in the class with these same people every single day. So I'm just thinking of it like you're around these people all the time and like you talk in front of them. So like presentation is like practically the same thing, you know?
Right.
It's still like you showcasing yourself in front of people just like you normally would.
I mean, I was that person too, bubbly eye. But at the same time, I was that person and I had to literally say, Jess, uh, go outside and force yourself to network. And that's when I realized the gap in those networking type events where I was like, we need some networking wear or bonding over activities. I think that's a great thing that people tend to not do. Bond over activities with strangers. That's exactly actually what Pedals in Progress is. And now everyone's great and supporting each other. It was so nice that I actually went to a fashion show this weekend and like I saw my Pedals in Progress people like three of them in the corner. I was like, oh look, y'all found each other. Like cool. Like that was just so cool because I feel like those are people that might have not ever bumped shoulders to be that personable with each other and to sit and interact with each other during the show. So, you know, bonding over activities is underrated.
Definitely. You hold the title of Blossom Campaign Coordinator. Did you tell us more about that role and its initiative and how it impacts women?
So, L- Lady University is a like a nonprofit. So that mission is to motivate us to, you know, really fulfill our goals. And to do that is consistency. So every summer, it started with my friend Tamara. That this is not my thing. I just hopped in on Tamara's thing. But Tamara, she would plant a flower or pot, a little mini garden every year, and she would record the process on social media. So it kind of got everyone watching like the growth. And so she would say little excerpts about being consistent and like, look, you're literally seeing the process and the progress. And so, I joined in on that and I created an actual curriculum. So I'm finalizing publishing that, but it's literally like a 12-week curriculum to go with your planting your seed as a reminder of being consistent. One of my biggest phrases is cultivate excellence. That's really going. on being consistent. There's going to be cycles in life, just like the flower, right? You're going to have to cycle. It grows, it blooms, it dies. You got to plant another one. But learning to really be consistent with your mindset and your goals, like you see what's possible. And then sometimes it's going to be things you got to troubleshoot. There's going to be weeds in that garden. There might be an infestation. There might be something dead, like a dead leaf or something that you're going to have to cut off. So again, nature mimics real life. Nature mimics the blueprint. So the Blossom campaign really hones in on that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit more about your inner work, the deeper side of things. To maintain balance and alignment with my goals and more challenging moments in my life, I use a skill I like to call mastering my own reality, and also
Mm.
some affirmations too. So I would like to know, what techniques that do you use to help you as a motivational model to embrace your light and make it shine better on others?
Ooh, that's thick. You ask thick questions, like an onion. There's so many layers. Um, I think my main affirmation is actually on my necklace. It's cultivate excellence. It's the reminder of progress, not perfection. I used to be a perfectionist real bad, like, and being a perfectionist is almost like a disease. It's almost like an illness because it feeds it more of like the dysfunction. You're like, I gotta do it perfect, or I don't do it at all. And so getting that like 1% better progress, 1% better. Am I 1% better than yesterday? Cool. I can say I had a good day. Being gentle with yourself. Um, like I said, the word cultivate is to work continuously. Um, it's usually used in gardening or farming, right? You have to cultivate the soil, so sometimes you gotta do the work. It's the reminding you that you have to do the work. And when you do the work in a fashion that's excellent, then that translates to the rest of your life. Like if I operate in excellence at school, if I operate in excellence at work, when my mom asks me to do something, you don't want to do that for your mama, but I'm gonna still do it. My mama still do it, and I'm gonna do it excellent, right? Um, you can't help but be excellent. Like when you have a bad day, then you just gonna be a little less excellent, but you're still gonna be excellent. So that's definitely an affirmation that I use often. That and progress over perfection. The other one I would say is just be so great at what you do they can't ignore you. I just feel like in Chicago fashion, I stick out like a sore thumb because of my use of color, and I'm not everyone's aesthetic or cup of tea, and that's okay. But I just feel like I'm often overlooked, and so keep showing up excellent, keep showing up amazing. They can't really ignore that. They can try, and they might ignore it, but you're probably inspiring someone that you don't even know.
That is all so empowering, like genuinely. And what you just reminded me of is this phrase called "How you do one thing is how you do everything."
Everything I say
That's
that to my son all the time.
yeah.
That gets on the nerve. My high school principal would say they may doubt what you say, but they'll remember what you do. And so she
Mm,
would say that on the
that's
intercom
gold.
every morning, and we would be like, but we're all adults, and we're like, yeah, she was on to something. So showing up great, showing up excellent for yourself first, and then everyone else can't help but take notice. But you got to do it for yourself first. I think that's something in my journey of working on showing up for self. Um, as a mom, I'm a mom. My son is 16. He old man, y'all. But as a mom, you start kind of putting yourself on the back burner and forgetting to take care of yourself. And then you're being a entrepreneur. I'm also a teacher, so like you're pouring in the students, but remembering that you're the root of everything, especially for our entrepreneurs, like you're at the root. So if you ain't taking care of yourself, you doing the hustle and not taking care of your health, your fitness, like your business is only going to be as good as yourself. I
Yes,
don't know. I'm
because
gonna say that one more time for the people in the
yeah, say
back.
that. Yeah, say that.
your business is only going to be as good as yourself. So if
Mm,
you got some
mm.
issues with yourself, hey, sit down somewhere as a mama, sit down somewhere, bloop, get it together, take care of yourself. I think the trend that I'm seeing with our Chicago creatives, everybody's at capacity and they don't know their capacity. I don't know if that's spoke to
Touch
you.
on no, touch on that more. You hitting something. Touch on
So
that a little bit more.
it's a lot of people. So it's canceling, it's dropping out, it's not showing up as their best self because they booked two, three things at the same day. Like it's being overwhelmed with their business. You shouldn't feel overwhelmed. It should be an extension of you. So if you're overwhelmed, you got to get to the root and figure out what's going on. Maybe it's your time management, maybe it's your strategy. I know for me right now, it is my strategy and my time management. Like I can have the best product, but if I'm not marketing it correctly, my strategy's off. Now that's causing me to feel overwhelmed in that capacity when I shouldn't. You shouldn't want to quit your business every other week because I'm so tired. Get to the root, which is you. Once you have your root together, then you can show up for your business in a certain way. Um, I definitely have this thing with time management and realizing that I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna get a little off subject, but I follow me, okay? There's this movie called Out of Time with Justin Timberlake, and I realized that my relationship with time was also part of the reason why my business is not where I want it to be. And people got paid with time instead of money. So the people in the poor areas, they made just enough time to get to work the next day. And the people in the wealthy areas, they had like 100 years on their clock. So they're like, do, 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 do. I'm getting my tea. I'm getting my coffee. Like, other people, they're like running for their bus because if they miss their bus, they literally might die. And I feel like that is that hustle culture and mentality that we've been stuck into. Like, oh, if I don't do it, I'm going to die. So really slowing down has helped me take care of myself. And when I show up in spaces, it's actually way more influential and impactful because they're attracted to my energy. I'm getting better connections. I'm getting more genuine connections compared to my hustle, hustle. I got to make it here. I got to make it there. Now I have a half connection that didn't really follow through. Um, you know, I had I didn't get to really network or I didn't really get to show off my personality and represent my brand correctly. So now that's a missed opportunity. So really, I want everyone, whether you're a creative, an entrepreneur, or just a person in life, really think about your relationship with time. We got to slow down a little bit and it's not bad.
Yeah, like slow down but never stop. But take
Slow down,
time
but
for yourself.
right. Everything has its course and everything has its cycle. Again, me and my nature, right? The plant, you're not going to get the bloom before the 90 days when it's supposed to bloom. It's got to run its course. We got to sometimes run our course, and that's okay.
Yeah, I agree with you fully. Just
Yeah.
you just gotta go with the flow. You gotta go with what God's plan is. Once you're ready, like it will be time to actually, like you just said, bloom. But you can't prematurely bloom. You know,
Bloom,
like
right.
it can't come out like that. You gotta do it at the right time.
I
Then it's
always
just
use,
perfect.
I'm a health person, so, I'm into like, cooking as well. And it's like, you can't make the chicken cook faster if you turn up the heat to 400 when it's supposed to be on 300. You gonna end up with some dry chicken. I'm just saying, like, even with like baking a cake, right? You can't rush through it and forget an ingredient because then your cake gonna be a pancake. It's not gonna be fluffy, or your brownie's not gonna be a brownie if you're forgetting ingredients because you're rushing. You're not gonna turn up the temperature on the oven and make it cook faster. Everything has its cycle, and I think tying it back to the seasonal living, like really embracing cycles. And, I think what helped me the most was embracing failure. There's a cycle of failure too, because sometimes you're going to fail and then you learn from the failure and now you come back better. Just like gardens, just like plants, they Each year the garden gets bigger and fuller. Sometimes you're gonna fail, and that's a cycle, and that's a moment. We sometimes we think the failure defines us. It's really a moment, and then you get back and up, and you get back down. It's a cycle. Maybe it ended in completion this time and not failure. But everything in life is definitely a cycle.
100%. And Jessa, I have another thick question for you, all right?
All
But you
right.
kind of already answered it, so
I'm
you should be
sorry.
perfect. No, 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 Sandra, you should be perfect on this. If confidence is the flower, then what's the soil? And what inner words have helped you cultivate that outer glow?
It's so many things that are in your soil. I would say one, it's kind of probably going to be a recap of the interview, right? What you listen to, what you put on, the energy, even the energy of the slowing down, right? The energy of when you get dressed, using that time to really invest in you. So when you go out, you have a clear head, you have the vision, and you can really move around. Community is really big. Not only having community, but positive community. Um, Community that is different from you too. Like, hey, I want to be around a lawyer. We might not have that much in common, but understanding that all the different ways people think will help you understand people, help you not be as intimidated by other people, even respecting others' opinions that differ from you. When you get into a state of your soil being more inquisitive and absorbing, right? You absorb everything and you say, even if I don't like this, even if I think I can't use this, there's something there for me. There's a grain of nutrients there for me. You know, the lawyer might teach me to think a little more logical, or maybe even his opinion on my clothing or my style helps me understand how I'm being perceived by others. Where I might not agree with you, but oh, if you think like that, somebody else out here think like that. So always being receptive to take in the things and being able to reject what, okay, like, yeah, I get it, but I don't have to ingrain that into my mind. Um, yeah, what you consume all the time. The social media, man, you better make sure that feed is right. Make sure that feed is right. I usually tend to just click on all the music ads so it keeps propelling music to me. Like, so it's not trying to, don't sell me anything. Like, let me just get my Spotify list up and get my new music and new artists from that. Make sure you're not following the gossip. Um,
Yeah, you gotta
I don't
stay out the
know.
way. You gotta stay out the way.
Read them books. Read them books. Books are everything. Um, I don't have I have TVs, but I don't use my TV. I don't have cable. I don't have any streaming services, so everything that I consume is intentionally picked. Just being intentional for sure is what makes you bloom. Um, but a lot of your intention is defined by your identity, and a lot of people fail with really understanding their own identity. So I would say making making sure your self-awareness is together. Self-awareness, I think, is the root of everything. To sum up all that stuff that I've been talking about, when you're self-aware, then you can, pick the right clothes, you can pick the right things to consume, you can pick the right community with confidence that it's all helping you grow.
I have a question about that. How do you tap
Okay.
into being more self-aware? Just how do you tap into being more self-aware in general in your life as you go through experiences? Just like, is it all about reflecting like after something goes on, or just really slowing it down, like you said, and just thinking about every little thing?
Yeah. So one is slowing down because you got to be like, I will talk to myself. Like I would talk to myself in the mirror. I face myself like, girl, why you do that? Like it's almost like becoming your parent and reprogramming your inner voice. They say that your inner voice usually is either both of your parents or one of your parents, how your parent talked to you when you were a child. So trying to reprogram that and talk to yourself as if you were your best friend. Or if you have a child, how you talk to your child, you're loving and you're cheering them on, right? But a lot of times we have really critical self-talk. We're like, oh my gosh, I hate myself, or that was stupid, or whatever. It's just like, um, even with parenting, like I ask my son certain questions when he does things. I don't tell him he's wrong. I said, what do you think about what you just did and the result that happened from it? So it's kind of getting inquisitive about yourself, asking yourself the question. Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's actually looking in the mirror and facing yourself. It's also facing your flaws and being really honest, like, dang girl, you really were the villain in somebody's story. And being okay with that. Like sometimes I gotta be the villain. But let's avoid being the villain, right? um, but accepting the flaws. The flaws are there and then embracing the flaws. All right, girl, you got the procrastination spirit. It's on you. It's on you bad. So what do we do to counteract that? What are we going to start doing? And like I said, that progress over the perfection, little by little. And when you learn to be your own cheerleader, sometimes I'll high five myself in the mirror. Like it feel weird. Sometimes I'll smile in the mirror when I'm sad because the smile makes your brain think you're happy. I see myself smiling and it's like, all right, maybe I do got this a little bit. But really becoming your own best friend and being able to tell your best friend about yourself. Because you know you better than anyone else. But a lot of times we just don't admit it. Sometimes and we all have the bad qualities. It's like, all right, am I gonna sit and simmer in my bad qualities? Or I'm gonna be active to kind of shift it and change it and, you know, counteract as much as I can. Sometimes I gotta trick myself. Like sometimes, even with me with time, I'm like, I always run late. So in my planner, I'm literally gonna say the event is at 3 o'clock when it's at 4. And then I look at the calendar invite on my phone in the planner and it on my calendar, and I really ingrained in my brain is 3. I'm running behind. 3:30 is when I actually leave the house. I'm like, oh wait, mm, the event was at 4 o'clock anyway. I'm not running late. you know, really embracing yourself and helping yourself.
Looking forward, what's next for Sunflower Cabana after the Paradise Runway closes? Any dreams of taking your brand beyond Chicago?
I absolutely want to take it beyond Chicago. I feel like it belongs in a resort, like a resort gift shop. It belongs in the airports. It belongs on your vacations. Um, I do want to get into my festival planning. I do events, so I'm going to be on the board of 3 festivals this year. The Full Fest, a yoga fest by Eden's Garden Place, which is the city's only black owned park that to date, and also Black Wall Street Festival that's with Woodlawn Diversity in Action. Um, so less on the fashion this summer. I'm going to re-release my prints because, like I said earlier, strategy. I have the best product, but eyes weren't on. I didn't. I didn't do official launches, so I'm going to take everything and relaunch it. So this last collection from Passion in Paradise is going to be the last print for a while, like set of new prints, and then we're going to relaunch print by print properly. It's going to be kind of like my winter season as far as my fashion. I'm going to take the time to get back down to the roots, strategize, and come back better.
Awesome. And how can people find you and support your future events?
Sunflowercabana.com is where you can find me. You can sign up for my newsletter that will give you all the events, all the fashion, and also all the styling opportunities. I do style. I didn't mention that, but I do style. But Instagram, it's Sunflower Cabana and also SC Event Hub. So SC Event and then HUB. That's where you can find that. And then also on Facebook, Sunflower Cabana.
Awesome. With that, everybody, our time together has come to an end. Huge shout out to Jessa for dropping all these gems and sharing the truth and reminding us that blooming isn't about looking good, it's about feeling good, growing through the seasons, and owning your full essence. Make sure you guys follow Sunflower Cabana on Instagram. Check out their upcoming Passion and Paradise fashion show on May 31st and tap in with Petals and Progress community brunches that are changing lives one season at a time. Special thanks to the Support Excellence Initiative for providing the space to elevate the voices of tomorrow and to remind us to keep reaching for greatness. If you're on your own self-discovery journey, comment below, subscribe, like, and share this episode. Let us know what you think. And as always, this is the Next Breath Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Bell, signing off.